Alright, so I just had my yogurt drink, and for a long time I couldn't actually eat so many different foods. It would just bring me down, my digestion was weak, and so I had to actually understand the nuances of food and how to understand how to do food elimination diets and make food not this black and white thing, so I can understand what I can eat and not just cut out everything from my diet. So for example, people are always wondering, can I eat dairy or no dairy? Or meat or no meat? Vegan or carnivore? It's all too black and white. I don't like that kind of thinking. For me, it's like, what kind of meat can I eat? How often and how much? You know, I was benefited so much with bone broth. So I actually love bone broth. So it's not vegan or not vegan. A little bit of salmon, 2-3 ounces of salmon was amazing for me. Same thing with the yogurts. It's not dairy or no dairy. It's, well, is it organic? Is it the right kind of dairy? Am I mixing it with ginger and pepper and turmeric and nutmeg and cinnamon to make it easier to digest? Am I eating the right amount? It has no sugar added. Am I putting some water with it and making sure it's warm and not cold? So all these things make the biggest difference, so that you don't have to feel like you're on such a restricted diet thinking, oh my god, well, I can't eat anything, this is too hard, and then you fall off the wagon. So that's not what we're trying to do when we're trying to detox and heal. When you're trying to detox and heal, you have to know the gray area. There's 52 shades of gray, right? So you have to know how to be nuanced, and then you also have to know about how to run experiments. I call this the mad scientist mindset, where you're running experiments and you're paying attention to what works and what doesn't work. And if it's not working, you change the experiment, run a new experiment. So for me, I would be eating all kinds of different foods and seeing what works. For me, what didn't work was heavy nuts, eggs, meat. And so I had to experiment with what foods actually worked for me when I was detoxing, when I was dealing with chronic fatigue. For me, it was eating more cooked green beans, cooked veggies with MCT oil, ghee, olive oil, and then mixing that with some bone broth. Really simple, delicious stuff like that just soothes everything. So I had to give up eating almonds and walnuts and hemp seeds and eggs, but that's okay because I experimented and I found what worked for me. And you find what works for you, but don't make it super duper complicated, and don't be super duper black and white. Be more of an experimenter. You don't have to be dogmatic. This isn't religion or politics. Even in those areas, don't be so black and white. You know, people keep on thinking this way is the only way, like no guns or no abortion. You're not thinking deep enough. You're just letting a certain doctrine govern your snap judgment. You haven't thought this deep enough for yourself. You're just listening to somebody else's concretized thoughts on the matter. So it's always good to build out your own detailed, precise thoughts and to get detailed experiments on these things, not snap conclusions, not assumptions, not pre-laid out dogma and doctrine that somebody else is telling you. People do this with religion, politics, food, opinions on people, sociology. People do this with everything. They just jump to the snap conclusion and they stay snapped in. It's really unfortunate because it can keep you from growing, it can keep you from healing. You know, you get locked into an opinion about Trump, you get locked into an opinion about Obama, and then you can't actually see the truth, you can't actually see the nuances, you can't think for yourself. You're toast. You gotta be nuts if you're gonna think like that. But a lot of people do, and so that's their loss. And it's very challenging to actually question all your beliefs. One of the best coaches of all time, he said, every single year, this is Charlie Munger, he said, every single year, discard one of your cherished beliefs, challenge it, study the opposite side of it, and actually look deeply at the other side. And you should only be able to hold a belief if you can argue the other side just as strongly. because that prevents you from getting closed-minded. And that is a disease that all of us have to continuously uproot. It's not, you can't fake yourself and lie and just say like, oh, I don't have any of that. All of us have a little bit of that. All of us have egos. All of us have a little bit of bias. The more you think that you're free from it, the more you're bound by it. And so we should constantly be learning the other perspective, hearing the other perspective, questioning all of your deeply held and cherished beliefs. Because that is the definition of being closed-minded. That is the definition of being ignorant, and nobody wants to be closed-minded or ignorant. It'll just make your life impossible to find the truth. You can't find the truth. There's a thesis, there's an antithesis, and then there's a synthesis. And the wisest people of all time always said, the golden mean, Aristotle. Socrates questioning every single belief. Voltaire saying, what is epistemology? How do I actually know what I think I know? The only thing I know is that I am. I think, therefore I am. So that level of skepticism was brought to the table by the greatest minds. Who are we to think that we shouldn't apply the same carefulness and skepticism towards our beliefs, our thinking, our lifestyles, our actions? I mean, people even do this with like meat. People do this with like vegetables. They just cannot even think deeply about meat or vegetables. They get so tribal. Oh, only meat, never vegetables. Or only vegetables, never meat. Nobody should eat meat. Everyone has the same exact genetics and biological capacity, the same exact digestive enzymes. Salivary amylase, no genetic distinction between carbohydrate metabolism. Everyone's the same. Everyone should eat more carbs. Everyone should eat the same amount of vegetables. It's like the stupidest mindset that you can possibly imagine. But that's actually how people think. Not in those same exact words, but that's as ridiculous. That is equally as ridiculous. That is accurately ridiculous of how ridiculous their thinking is. Because it's so non-nuanced. They don't actually realize that that's what they believe, that everyone is the same. Oh, everyone should eat the same thing. Nobody has any digestive or genetic variations that can make their digestion a little bit different or digest things a little bit better. Maybe certain people should eat a little bit less carbs and fiber because they don't have the same digestive capacities. No, they get stuck. They get so stuck. And then they get dogmatic, and then they form tribes. So that can keep you stuck if you're actually looking to experiment. If you really want to be a scientist or a deep thinker, if you want to actually be able to run experiments, you can't be held into the muck of your own predilections. You can't be held into the muck. You have to look at things anew with fresh eyes if you're going to run an experiment. Sure, everyone has hypotheses, but you can't let your expectations skew the experiment. That's a bias. So you'll be able to find a lot more solutions in life if you're able to look at things like that. I'm preaching to the choir, guys. Most of you guys meditate. Most of you guys already kind of understand these psychological nuances. Epistemology is a big thing. So anyway, we're here at Dollar Tree and at a Goodwill. Gonna pick up some gift bags, start gifting some stuff to my peeps, see what kind of collectibles we can find at Goodwill, let you know what I find. Peace.